What's up, addressees? Welcome to the H&R TV, the official YouTube channel for the hottest new revolution, culture, and movement. That's to live your life and love the life you live, regardless of who you piss off in the process, culture, and movement. And in this video, I'm going to break down the differences between the fluid community and DL people because apparently I thought over this period of me making these videos that I was clear on the differences, but apparently some people still need for me to break it down. And to be honest, this just kind of confirms my theory and my beliefs and basically my experiences that society and the world just like it's a lot of confusion around the whole LGBTQIA plus who's where and everything like that with the understanding of the outside of the rest of the world. Basically, I thought that over this time of me like posting videos and like sharing my thoughts on the subject that I was being clear when I was saying that okay, well, basically me being fluid, if I were to be prior to founding and creating the fluid community, somebody like me would have been identified as discreet gay, but I don't really believe in somebody being discreet gay. I feel like gay is an identity where somebody is pretty much kind of like just flamboyant, live out loud. Not even flamboyant. Yes, I mean feminine, flamboyant, whatever. Like just big personality, live out loud, like just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, but I don't believe there's like a discreet way to do that, and that's why I always really had an issue with being described as discreet gay. That's why I feel like it's more important for me to create and establish a community that better describes me. And I thought that like the world understood the difference between at least somebody who is discreet gay versus somebody who is DL. So when I said, okay, well, my prior description would have fallen into the discreet that category or whatever the case may be. Um, Before creating the fluid community, I thought that people would kind of just go, okay, you know what? Well, okay, so this is replacing that definition. But for some reason, people, even with me making these videos and being forthright and sharing my experiences and sharing my truth and everything like that, like folks were still kind of um, confused as far as the differences between me, somebody who was like me, fluid, versus DL people. So I'll make a video to kind of point out and be more specific about the differences. But before I get into that message, I do want to go back and um, touch back on the video that I just posted in reference to uh, encouraging people um, to sign up, to get registered, to vote for the upcoming elections that are taking place this November. So if you didn't see the video speak where I'm talking about voting and getting folks signed up for voting, then please go back and check out that video because over these next few months or whatever the case may be leading up to November, I am going to be speaking more about the challenges that we have as a nation in the United States um, coming up as far and as well I'm gonna be speaking about like the different candidates running and who I believe in and who I uh, uh, endorse or whatever the case may be. So y'all tap into my videos, man. I'm gonna get y'all right, man. Like it's very important that you vote, and it's very important that you know who to vote for and what candidates are bringing what to the table. So lock in, man. If you're not registered to vote, go back and watch that video. It's like 10 minutes. It's less than 10 minutes to vote or to get registered to vote. And I'm giving instructions and directions on exactly how you can do that in that video. So go back and check that out. All right, so the differences between being fluid and being DL. Let me just run through a few that I wrote down here. And also, there are so many, like, so I'm speaking on some of the main things, some of the main differences between how we think and how we show up in the world. But the differences between how we think and how we show up in the world can manifest into a lot of different scenarios and situations that I'm not necessarily going to touch on in this video. It's unlimited situations. There's no way that I can speak on all the different ways that our differences in thinking manifest. But this is just kind of touching on some of the main points or whatever the case may be. All right. So I'm just reading what I wrote. So number one, actually, I got to figure out how I'm going to even edit this video. All right. If you date, are attracted to, or do intimate things with the same gender, but you try to conceal that fact by laughing at or participating in jokes aimed at LGBT people or the community, or even openly fluid people or the community, that's DL behavior, folks. That doesn't make you privately fluid. You're DL. DL people go above and beyond to conceal their true identity in order to blend in. Fluid people just are. There's no need to try to fake the funk or to try to deflect attention or none of that. Jokes aimed at other people's courage to be themselves isn't funny. The cowardly hiding and not owning who you are is the real joke. Oh, I think I wanted to say something else in reference to that. Hold up. That's what I was gonna say. Just pointing out, like if somebody being fluid or anybody in general, just pointing out that somebody is gay, that you can look at somebody and they're obviously gay, like, and I'm just pointing out the difference. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not necessarily making fun of somebody. If you don't have any malicious intent in pointing out that fact, then no, that's not the same as joking and trying to make fun of somebody to try to feel superior or to try to blend in or whatever the case may be. No, if I'm just having a conversation, I'm pointing out the fact that somebody is not like me or whatever the case may be. And if somebody is gay and they point out like you're fluid, you're not like me. You get what I'm saying? It's nothing malicious in like just pointing out that fact. All right, moving on. Fluid people embrace their journey of self-discovery. Of course, my shit wanna, give me 1 second. My tablet wanna mess up and act funny right now because I'm making a video. All right, my bad, folks. So moving right along. All right, so moving on, man. Fluid people embrace their journey of self-discovery while privately growing and learning to acknowledge and accept their truth and identity over time. It's an ongoing process. Could be a lifelong process for some folks. DL people, while having found the courage to explore the self-discovery side of their journey by taking part in the acts, unfortunately, they still largely avoid the very important internal work that's necessary to achieve self-acceptance. So while they'll engage in the acts, they'll still deny, reject, and avoid their truth. The next difference: exposing a fluid person will likely get you cut off and never spoken to again. Exposing a DL person could get you unalived. The difference being the level of threat and harm perceived by a DL person after being exposed by someone is going to be far greater and will feel much more life-threatening to them than it would to a fluid person who has begun the journey of self-acceptance. Although either would feel violated by the exposure, the DL person is more likely to take it as a life or death level threat. Next difference: fluid people likely would not be detrimentally bothered, if even slightly bothered, in situations or environments where other people might suspect their true identity. Where DL people would likely be debilitatingly bothered, detrimentally bothered, very just like for the folks who don't necessarily know what debilitatingly means. But anyway, just very, 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 very like super bothered in situations or environments where other people might suspect their true identity, provoking them to take whatever measures they deem necessary, sometimes even extreme measures, to try to deflect attention, to preserve their perceived reputation, or to simply try to blend in. Next difference. Fluid people's ability to be able to look internally and be honest and real with ourselves regarding our true identity and preferences frees us to be able to approach any relationship, same or opposite gender, with genuine intentions. Whether we choose to disclose our full identity to our dating partners or not, our own acceptance and understanding of who we are empowers us to maneuver in relationships in a way that is genuine and considerate of our partners and of ourselves. DL people's refusal to acknowledge their true identity causes a constant need for strategic concealment of their complete selves from their person or their partner, making genuine connection and healthy relationship growth nearly impossible. The mask they wear, concealing their truth, stunts their ability to step into the courage required to show up genuinely in relationships, creating an unfortunate pattern that too often leaves their partners hurt, broken, left in irreparably altered situations as a result, or sometimes even dead, unalived, folks, depending on the circumstances. Next difference. Fluid people are not ashamed of our identity. Those of us who choose to remain private about it have likely already done the internal work, evaluated every possibility associated with owning and living in our truth, and have simply concluded each individual, for reasons personal to themselves, whether in life, career, family, socially, whatever the case may be, that the decision to remain private makes the most sense for the period of life that they're in at the time. This outlook could evolve over time, but does not indicate any shame on their behalf by choosing to be private. It just makes more sense for them. Whereas DL people reject the very important internal work that is a crucial step in the journey of growing to the point of accepting and loving themselves fully. They're not simply making the decision to be private about their identity. Rather, the shame and fear they still carry about their identity forces them to hide. And instead of beginning the work to build the confidence and acceptance within themselves to graduate from being ashamed and hiding to simply just being confident yet private, they avoid that internal work altogether. Next difference. Fluid people accept who we are. This removes within us, some of us completely, and for others mostly, depending on the stage of acceptance that we've achieved in our own individual journey. But it removes within us any need to belittle or make fun of others in efforts to feel better about ourselves or to appear heteronormative to others. Whereas DL people are likely to be the loudest source of the jokes and the condemnation of others, to deflect attention from themselves, to mask their discomfort, or to appear heteronormative to others. The next difference. Fluid people get a bad rap in today's society, which is currently not educated on many of the facts involved with being somebody that identifies as fluid, which, again, I just pointed that out. Like, if they weren't educated on what the difference between discrete gay and DL was, they won't be educated on this. This is, I guess, why it's important for me to make this video pointing out the differences at this point. So, where was I? Yeah, fluid people get a bad rap in today's society, which is currently not educated on many of the facts involved with being somebody that identifies as fluid. Why is that? It's because the reputation of DL men, the history of antics and horror stories associated with various actions and incidents Involving DL men over the years have shaped society's perception that all masculine men that engage in same gender intimacy must be DL, hiding, ashamed, or dangerous in some way. And this is why clarity and separation, i.e., the existence of the fluid community, is crucial. I think that's all. I think those are the main differences that I wanted to point out in this video. So we are not the same, folks. And those are some of the differences. And hopefully that helps somebody to understand maybe where you are in your own journey. Maybe it inspires or empowers you to begin your journey of self-acceptance. Or maybe if it's somebody like, checking out this video who just wants to understand the difference, hopefully I was able to shed some light and to help you out. All right, to better understand why we are different. And yeah. But again, these are just a few examples, folks. It can manifest the differences in the way that we think and behave and just believe and just live life. It can manifest into a bunch of different situations depending on the circumstances and the scenarios. So yeah, hopefully this helps somebody, man. Y'all be safe today. Stay out the way. Take everything one step at a time, one day at a time. Focus on finding yourself and finding your purpose. I love you, King V, H&R.